Okay, I'm answering to Abigail Thorn's problem about how to get to hormones and what's the problem with the healthcare system. Okay, at the especially trans healthcare in England. Okay, which has surprised me about England actually, and also I'm responding also to about what is actually dysphoria. I mean, it doesn't exist. The gender dysphoria, it doesn't really exist to me. Okay, it's actually dysmorphism. Okay, so my answers are to Abigail Thorn and also notsoErudite. Okay, and I've seen philosophy tube about 2 months ago, and I wanted to do a comment on that. But before, I wanted to read Harry Benjamin's book because I wanted to get the bottom of this, and also okay, and Harry Benjamin's book. Okay, so I got the PDF on paper, but I read that book about like in 1987, around 1986. Okay, and also I decided to buy the book because I read it also like several times. Colette Chilin's book. Okay. Okay. And so, and also plus studying that, I have other things to do. Continue like the social studies and also the biological studies on the human body. Okay. So, and my answer is okay to Abigail Thorn and notsoErudite is to it's actually dysmorphism, and also just buy your hormones. Don't try to get it free. Just buy them. Okay. Tell your medical doctor that okay, I want feminizing hormones or masculinized hormones for just aesthetic reason. Okay. So, and I will pay them. Okay. Just give me a prescription and everything's fine. Just like if we're getting finasteride. Okay. Now, okay. Coming back about this. Okay. Now, also I've been doing a lot of reading, and ever since at the beginning, okay, when I wanted to transition, okay. For one thing, gender dysphoria is kind of it's kind of a joke. Okay. It doesn't exist. It's complete. There's no scientific basis on gender. Okay. As a matter of fact, like in French, it's called genre. Okay. Genre means type in English. What type of person he is? Well, he's a psychopath. He's a wimp. He's a glutton. Okay. He's an asshole, for example. Okay. So I mean, type is like, it's a psychological type, or it's mostly it's a psychological type or behavioral type. Okay, same thing with genre. Okay, but now they say gender. Okay, but the word gender comes from, it's a grammatical word meaning okay, what gender? Because they're not going to say, oh, what's the sex of the word? It doesn't work. Okay, now there's no gender in English, okay, compared to French, German, and Spanish and Italian or Latin. Okay, Latin and German has like 3 genders. Like they have neutral, feminine, and masculine. Okay, in French we use the word genre to say okay, le genre du mot, c'est le genre féminin, le genre masculin, comme une carotte. Une carotte is feminine gender in French, but it's something grammatical. So I don't know where they got this. Like in the 90s, that word, to me, that word it seemed has started like in the 1950s or 1960s with the word gender. Okay, so it's either been invented by Harry Benjamin or a person before. I don't think it's Magnus Hirschfeld has invented that word, okay, but it might be Ian Christian, like the surgeon that has done the vaginoplasty for for Christine Jorgensen. Okay, for example, it might be invented by Dr. Green or I can't remember the John Money or Harry Benjamin. I'm not sure. Okay, and to me, the first thing to do when you want to transition, okay, to feminize our body or to masculinize our body, is to get the hormones. That's the first thing. Like, don't bother to trying to do a coming out or trying to go to to see a psychiatrist, like to go to see the government to see to change your sex ID on your identification card. Okay, I mean it's silly. Like, I mean, especially if you look like Jacques Chirac or Alain Juppé, and then you go out and then you try to change officially your sex on your birth certificate and also your ID cards. It's kind of like stupid. Okay, the first thing, and that I knew since the beginning, since I wanted to transition to feminize my body in 1986. Okay, now the reason why I wanted to feminize, that I wanted the hormones, is because in 1986, okay, I wanted to feminize my body. Okay, so I became vegetarian to lose weight because I was very overweight. Okay, like I was obese at that time. Okay, and I had a feminine obesity and also a masculine obesity like my father. Okay, feminine obesity like my mother. Okay, but it's not my parents that were the problem. It's like another family. I went inside another family and they were eating a lot of pork. Okay, and I never ate that meat before. Okay, but I loved sugar at that time. Okay, anyway, so I became vegetarian because I wanted to lose weight. Okay. And that's in 1986, and by the time I came to 1988, like, I started losing a lot of my hair, and at the time I blamed testosterone. Okay, that's what caused me my dysmorphism or my depression. Like, everything was dark. Okay. But later on, later on I found out I was anemic. My doctor says, you're anemic for almost like 10, 20 years. Okay, one of my family doctor in the 1980s and the 1990s says you're anemic. Try to get B12, but I heard one of my uncles says, well, the B12 that they put in pills doesn't work because it's a fake B12. So I believed them. Okay, anyways. So, like, I mean, I wasn't smart at that time, but also it's like, when you start believing people who give you what's important, people who gave you the wrong information about your body, about your medical issues or your nutrition, it will kill you. It can kill you. Okay. So just be careful if the information is negative, look for other information. Just continue studying about it, or just do it. Take your vitamin B12. Anyways, so like I lost a lot of hair at that time, so I was in distress. Okay, and as a matter of fact, I was going through depression. Okay, so actually, gender dysphoria does not exist. It's actually dysmorphism. Okay. But the reason why dysmorphism is what we believe, okay, if I knew that male pattern baldness is reversible, I won't have dysmorphism because I know, it's reversible. How can we reverse it? Well, you lower down testosterone, okay? But the problem is, okay, in French we say hic, okay? The hic is that you have to put your testosterone to zero. But there's so many lies about testosterone that says if a man or a boy doesn't have testosterone, he will die. He will be depressed. He will commit suicide. Okay, and also we suspect, and also there's the ambient transphobia, or I would say, you can't say transphobia because it's I'll explain that in a few minutes later. Okay. So, and we anticipate the no of the psychiatrist or the medical doctor, which I did anticipate well. Okay, they said no violently. Some of them, like, you know, were very violently verbal on that. Okay. One of the first one I asked, I said, okay, like, I have this distress of losing my hair. I don't want to lose my hair. And I said, well, like I said, I need like an anti-androgen. And he yelled at me on the phone that, well, you're too old. I was 26 at the time. You don't look like a woman. And you're supposed to act like a man, blah, 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 okay? And then I asked other medical doctors, and they were like just cold, kind of like, you know, very hostile. So I got depressed, okay? So I was blocked, okay? So this is what caused the dysphoria, the depression, or the I keep forgetting word, or the distress, okay? Depression, distress, they come together. You're distressed for a long time, and then you become depressed because you're distressed. I mean, you kind of like, you gave up on life, okay? So, but since 1986, I said the first thing to do is you get the anti-androgen, or you get the anti-estrogen, okay, for trans man, okay? That's the first thing you get to see if it works, because I mean it's and also there's lies saying, well, it's as irreversible as an amputation. You amputate, you have your breast amputated, you have your penis and your testicle and your scrotum amputated. This is the same thing, which is no, okay? So I mean, that, like, the amputation or the castration is another thing, okay? Taking hormones is not an amputation, it's not a mutilation, okay? But that's the first thing that that's the first thing to do, is you get the hormones, okay? And I'm glad, I just read recently, okay, that's thanks to Lauren Chan, who placed a video on Transmaxing, okay? I got their PDF out, okay? And what made me smile is that it's the first trans woman or feminizing man, or trans feminine man, who says this phrase: the first thing to do is you get the hormones. And this is the phrase he has said, he has written, which made me laugh. Which is like, to me, I'd go beyond. It's delaying HRT is insanity. I go beyond even that. Of course, it's insanity, but it's also sheer or deep stupidity. Okay, I mean, it's or you're a troll, basically. Okay, so anyways, so to be about, okay, so what my distress came because I thought that, okay, when I was, okay, in 1980, I was starting, I went to university to study biology in 1982, and by 1984, I was starting to feminize my body at that time, and then 1986, I became much more serious, okay? So that's why I became vegetarian, because like I was fat. I had a big huge belly, which is a masculine obesity, and then I had like you know fat like on my legs and stuff like, which I don't mind that actually, but it's just the belly, okay. So I became vegetarian because I had to tell my mom, no, don't give me beef, no, don't give me pork or anything like that, and then my mother-in-law also. Okay, so I had to cut on that. Okay, and later on I cut on the sugar stuff, on sucrose. Okay, despite the fact, despite the fact that I like sugar, like I'm kind of like addicted to sugar, which I overcame that in 2008. I stopped, I stopped craving sugar, sugar stuff like pancakes with syrups and stuff. So therefore, okay, now where was I? So I read the first year Biology 101 textbook, which is Biology by Elena Curtis, okay? And at the middle of the book, okay, she was talking about male pattern baldness and eunuchs and men who are completely bald. And she says, if a young boy is castrated young, he will never lose his hair. If a man before he goes bald is castrated, he'll never lose his hair, or his hair loss will stop. If a man is already bald, it won't grow. Okay, but the way she sentenced that. Okay, I sensed kind of like an expedient about her, a kind of like an anxiety or fear that if she says otherwise, that says, okay, male pattern baldness is reversible or partially reversible, as if she feared that if she says that, which is true, it is reversible, but there are by degrees, okay, that she fears that like 50% of men and boys will castrate themselves, okay. Like I sense that fear from her in her words, okay. And unfortunately I gave out the book. I nearly bought it like out of a used bookstore, and it was like only $3, which cost me at the time like $70. Okay, I should have bought it because now on the internet it's like $300. Okay, so no. Anyways, I sent that from her. Okay, and despite the fact that I sensed that fear in her words, I believed her, or partially I believed her. From 1986, I continue on studying about it. And as I said, I became vegetarian in 1986, and then I stopped eating altogether. Like I was eating very little. Okay, so by the time I came to 1988, I started losing a lot of my hair. Okay, but I blamed it on testosterone. This is when the dysmorphism or the distress or the depression sets in, and it lasted till 2005, from 1988 to 2005. And what causes the distress is that you're gonna, if you start saying, okay, to go to medical doctors or psychiatrists, okay, I want to feminize my body, and then you anticipate their hostility. Okay, you have to bear in mind that medical doctors or psychiatrists are men. Okay, and we tend to think that all men are machos, and men tend to beat on feminine men. Okay, so that's sticking to our mind. Okay, and we can't. And about psychiatrists and medical doctors, I mean, they're not angels. They're not perfect. Okay, as a matter of fact, there are proofs. Okay, like in Germany, 40% of medical doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists were active members of the Nazi Party. Like 40%. The nurses was 90%, but the nurses didn't have a choice because they had to, all their union, okay, or their union have to become part of the Nazi Party. So they didn't have a choice, but the doctors did have a choice. But 40%. Okay, and not only that, like in the first man camp that was like written was by a physician in Chile. Okay, and he was trying to convince the Araucanians in southern Chile and southern Argentina to join the Visigoths of northern Chile and northern Argentina to get rid of the small Indians or American native, and also the Celts, the Gaulois. Okay, so it was the first Mein Kampf against a racial group or an ethnic group. I would say a racial group because the way they look like. Okay, so that was a physician, a medical doctors. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that you can't say they're all perfect. Okay, and you can't trust them. Okay, so when you know that you're going to be facing somebody that could be dangerous to you, that's another reason of distress. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. And so I was losing my hair a lot, and I knew that psychologists, psychiatrists, and generalists are not a bowl of cherry, which I did find out. Okay. So, and about getting the first thing about getting the hormones, I decided the reason why I didn't respond to Abigail Thorn 2 months ago is because, like, I wanted to read Harry Benjamin's book and also Colette Chilin's book. Okay, and they do specify the first thing to do when somebody has want to be feminized, or they have like a sex dysmorphism, or a sex dysmorphism. Okay, both of them, the first thing to do is you give them hormones. That's the first thing to do. Okay, because they want to see if it's going to work. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They might, but at least I think the actual problem, okay, what caused really the distress is the injustice. Okay, it's to why we don't get the hormones. Why? Okay, and there's an injustice. Like, I mean, we have this ingrained instinct or collective conscious telepathy, okay, about that. So we know there's an injustice. Okay, why some people are refused. Okay, why we don't get the hormones. And the most important is why some do. Okay, that's the question. Okay, and coming back to male pattern baldness. Okay, so I'm gonna put this here. Okay, and what I gathered throughout my years of studying, I've been studying the human body since 1986 to today. Okay, even today, but I started organizing my study much more because I was depressed, I was distressed, and my studying was like completely chaotic. Okay, I wasn't disciplined. I didn't discipline what I've read, and I took notes. But I started to discipline myself by reading. Firstly, I was reading scientific paper without having a good base. So I read this book like twice, and I'm reading a third time. And some of the section I read it like 4 or 5 times. Okay, so this is it's a anatomy and physiology. It's a physiology book, textbook. It's the Bible. Okay, so I read that twice since 2009. So I got a good base of knowledge, which it does have. So I started learning how to look for experiment or studies, experimental paper on hormones, sociology, everything, okay? And I started to organize, to know how to find these scientific paper, okay? And to organize them, like to write them down and to do a listing. So I came up to about like almost like 600. From 2009, I read like close to 600 scientific paper and books on that. Like I read, I read some of the scientific book, like John Lee, for example, and then Hasselman, or like Harrisel, whatever. It's a woman. It's a woman physician. Okay, and now with all coming back to male pattern baldness. Okay. Now, so it starts off with genes. Okay, I think there's like 6 genes which are on the X chromosome. Some of them can be on the Y chromosome, which actually it's 5 genes, because this would be the same gene. It does the same thing, okay? The X chromosome, okay, because by recombination, mostly it's on the X chromosome, but by recombination it can end up on the Y chromosome, okay? And you have, can be on chromosome 15, 16, 11, that I heard, or 12, and 12. Okay, but what these genes do? Okay, there's like several. I heard some of these genes. What they do, they let a lot of junk going into the cells of the hair, and what it does, it kills the cell. Some of them also. Some of the genes actually cuts off the blood circulation in the hair follicle, the hair, or the cells of the hair, which it asphyxiates the cells. Okay, and some of the genes stimulate the cells to go in dormancy quicker, so that the hair falls off. So I read all the different scientific paper, experimental paper on the subject, on male pattern baldness. I read that, okay? And for the genes, to activate the genes, okay, you need a molecule, okay, that activates the genes. And also plus a protein. You need a protein molecule, okay, and with a simple, I would call it a simpler molecule. Okay. Molecule. Now, the simpler molecule are testosterone, okay, and cytokine, interleukin 6, okay, and you have okay, those are the stress hormone, okay. Also you have sugar, or I would say sugar, or mostly like glucose, okay. What the glucose do, you get into the bloodstream. Well, if you have, for example, if you have too much glucose on your bloodstream, it gets into, and also like iron. Iron can do that actually, okay, because iron is if you have too much iron, it will kill some of the cells. If it kills if it kills the hair cells, well, the hairs, like you're gonna have like less hair cells that makes the hair grow. So your hair will be thinner, much more breakable. Okay. Okay, so it depends. Okay, the cytokines, these three cytokines, testosterone, cytokines, and also interleukin 6 will activate the genes. Okay, glucose, iron. Okay, in a sense, iron glucose and iron will promote, will raise the amount of cytokines you have in your bloodstream. Okay, it might the iron and glucose might actually activate the protein to activate the gene. It might. Okay, and you have anemia. Okay, anemia is that you're like you don't have you're missing a lot of oxygen. It could death could happen to there, but before death, the first thing in anemia does is that is there's a regression of like a lot of the small arteries, or I would say capillaries. Okay, so you lose a lot of capillaries from your skin, and especially from the hair follicles. So but if you have anemia, eventually your hair will fall off. Okay, some biologists say if you lose your hair because of anemia, it's the baldness is even more irreversible than the cause by testosterone. Okay, so this is the no. Okay, so this I know that, but before I didn't know that. So this is where the distress and the depression came in. Plus, being anemic, the depression is it worsens the depression because you have your brain shuts down, your brain cells start dying. You have no blood, you have no hemoglobin that gets into your brain because you don't eat. Your bone marrow, you don't have vitamin B12. Your bone marrows do not produce hemoglobin. Doesn't finish the hemoglobin, so you don't get a lot of oxygen. You could actually die. Okay, your heart stops before anything else, or you get Alzheimer's syndrome, or your dementia. Okay, so now. So, as I said, I got a lot of, for the past, also I'm writing a book. I've been starting to write, because of all the studying, I'm writing a book, which is right here, okay. Okay, it's it won't be the title, it's How to Erase Rape, and How to Change Sex for, I've written boys and girls, but actually I'm gonna change them to men and women, okay, of all ages, from 13 to about 200 years, okay. So, and what I meant by that, okay, so I'm reading, okay. Okay, by reading this book, okay, throughout, I've done my last video that I've done is like explaining the first part of the book, which is like a very small part, is the first page, okay. And speaking of that, at the description under this video that I'm gonna publish, there's a link to Philosopher's Tube video in question, and also notsoErudite's video. So they're very good videos, despite the fact that like I have to give them an answer on a few things, okay. And while I'm doing my video, I started. Okay, now if I could find it. This is like. Okay, I don't seem to be finding it. It's funny, like okay, well that's annoying. That means I will have to get. Okay, transmaxing. Okay, which is kind of like infuriating. I forgot. There's a. Okay, for some reason I can't find my chalk that I was using to draw. Okay, which is very infuriating. Okay. Oh, there it is. My eyesight is really bad. Okay. I'm using this. This is a Remungio chalk, which is much more. It's drier. The grains are thinner, but it's less oily. Okay, or less pasty. I would say pasty. Okay, compared to the Rembrandts, which the Rembrandts is a little bit harder to draw with. Okay. And I wanted to do that. I draw at the same time that I'm doing my video. Okay. Now, I'm going to be drawing, I will continue my drawing on that. Okay. It's like in another video. Okay. I've written les femmes biologiques means biological women, okay. Which mean like politically or so politically, I would say politically I don't agree having trans women to be officialized women in the sense that they should keep their that's only me. They should keep their ID with the sex male on their ID, okay. But to specify les femmes biologiques, the biological meaning that you don't have testosterone. That's the rationale. A boy or a man that lowers the testosterone to almost 2 levels, to women's level or children's level, okay. Biologically, they're not men anymore because what makes us a man or women is actually the hormones in it, the constitution of the hormones, which is like high testosterone, low progesterone, low 17 beta estradiol. Okay, 17 beta estradiol is the feminizing estrogen. There's probably all the beta estrogen. Okay, 17 beta estradiol, beta, probably 16 beta estrone, and westrol. I don't. It could be beta or alpha, I'm not sure, or it could be both of them. But westrol is the weakest, but actually westrol has a progesterone effect also. So it does act like a progesterone. Okay. So les femmes biologiques, this woman is born XX with a vagina. This woman non-operated is born XY, but this woman is to lower testosterone is taking estrogen and a progesterone. Mostly estrogen could do the job quite easily. Just take 17 beta estradiol or 16 beta westrone in patches to lower your testosterone. As soon as your testosterone goes down, and then after a year your secondary traits goes down, you become a woman biologically, okay. But officially or politically, we should stay. We should forget about changing your sex on your birth certificate, and also your sex on your ID. It's no point. A man is allowed to look like a woman. A woman is allowed to look like a man, basically. So that's my logic behind this. And here is this woman is XY, born with a penis and testicles and a scrotum. but is operated. Okay. Now I've drawn these 3 women with a white dress. Okay. But in reality, today, women are dressed differently. So, and also I forgot some of the. Okay, some of the. Okay, so. Okay, I'm using this this dry pastel, this very fine, drier pastel, because it's easier to spread out, and it's kind of like smoothness. Okay. Okay, all the images under my on the description under this video, I placed the link. I will be placing the link to Abigail Thorn's and notsoErudite's videos, and also a link to 2 web pages where I placed all the images that I show on my videos. Okay, so what time is it? 41 minutes and 9 seconds. Okay, so this is a little bit. Okay, I'll put this here. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt. Okay. I'll draw these at the bottom. Okay. Now this is supposed to be a brown, but like I'm using it as an orange because I didn't want to use the red brand orange because it's too pasty. It's almost like waxy, so it's very hard to spread it. Now this one, okay, I'll put it. I don't have any choice to put it here. Okay. No, I'll take it out later. Okay. Okay, so. Okay, no, there, where's this goal is? Okay. Now, let's see. I think they're all red rent, okay. Which I doubted. Okay, I missed it. Yeah, it's right here. Okay. I don't have any choice to use this. Okay, so. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, I don't know if I... Okay, so there's this one. And... That's not evident. Evident. That's a little bit hard too. Yeah. Okay, okay, so one thing that doesn't go like this. Okay. Those are red brands, okay, but depending by the color, some of the purple color is less pasty, meaning less sticky. Okay, so now let's see here. It's not exactly it. That is a problem. I have to find a way to okay, a little bit better. When I draw a character, okay. As a matter of fact, this what I'm doing is an experiment, in a sense. Like I'm experimenting a different. Like I don't want to draw people or characters always in the same profile. Like, you know, face, sideways. You know, try to do it like in different angles. Like maybe like 70, 100, 180, maybe 210 degrees. Okay, this is if you use a Cartesian. If you use a Cartesian, okay, this would be facing 270 degrees. 270 degrees, okay, which I don't mind. Like, I mean, I just leave it. I don't mind what I'm doing here. Okay, so okay. I always make their heads a little bigger, but more expensive. But you know, it has to be. Some of the mangas, especially for the males, when when mangakas or Japanese comic book artists, when they do male characters, especially the Japanese women comic book artists, they do a big body, like very muscular, wide shoulders, but of a small head, very small head. If you check some of the shoujos or the josei, which josei are the Japanese comic books for women. Okay. Okay, so that's fairly hard. Okay, so okay, doing the hands it's fairly hard using a big chalk. Okay, so now, okay, it's actually the blue that's mostly pasty. It doesn't smudge that good, so it's very hard to color a whole surface or a whole background like this here. Okay, so now let's see here. Okay, this is turtleneck. Okay, now I use the blue as black, okay, but I use the blue as blue also, okay. When it's a trick of the, I never use black on my drawings. Never, never, never. I use white though, but I never use black, because I always think the black makes it dirty and also unrealistic. So as black, I use magenta as black and dark blue as black. Magenta is sort of like a pink. It's close to pink. It's like, as a matter of fact, magenta is one of the primary colors. There are like 3 primary colors. There's cobalt blue, there's canary yellow, and then there's magenta. Magenta is one of the primary colors. There's 3, and I just mentioned them. Okay, now I'm going to be smudging. Okay, now I'm smudging the contours to give them a light blue. I sort of like that dark blue because I actually could change the intensity. Ooh, I forgot one thing. The intensity of the blue. Okay, so here's another one. Okay, so not quite. I made a mistake. Okay, so as a matter of fact, I made a big perspective mistake. Okay, so actually this goes like this. That's better. Okay. No. So. Okay, it's a long time I haven't drawn these uniforms, okay, so-called uniform actually, or societal uniform, okay, like wool pull and jeans, cotton jeans, real cotton jeans, okay. Gosh, okay. That's very, it's very hard to draw this in this position. It's about 20 minutes. 21 minutes exactly. So I need, okay, so okay, now every oops, I forgot. You know, sometimes just coloring without doing the contour is much easier. I'll show you why. Okay, so the which one is this one? Is that yellow? Yeah, that's dark yellow. This is dark yellow. Like I said, the red brands. Oh, there it is. The red brands. Okay, so I'm trying not to. Okay. Okay. Oh, there it is. Now, I can't draw what they have between the legs, okay, because of their jeans and the blue. So it's gonna be, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this. X, male. Okay, the reason why is that she got a sex determining region on her X chromosome. That's because of the recombination between the X and Y, okay? So the region is, I don't know if it's one gene or it's several genes, okay? But the sex determining region on the Y chromosome is very rare. It's recombinated on the X chromosome, extremely rare. So it happens maybe 1 in about 10,000, okay? Or 1 even to 1,000, okay? So basically this woman is born with a penis, but she has the XX chromosome, okay? And her has the X, Y, female, okay? She has the XY chromosome, but she's born with a vagina and a uterus and also the ovaries, okay? Which are probably non-functional, okay? That's because on her X chromosome, on either of these chromosomes, the X and Y chromosome, she doesn't have the sex determining region, or the sex determining region has been mutated, so it doesn't work. It could be a recombination that the whole region does not exist in any of the two chromosomes, or it could be that there's a mutation that makes it that it cannot be translated into transcribed into a protein or into an RNA messenger RNA messenger, okay? And her, okay, she could have okay, but she could, like, I'm gonna say that she's born male, okay? So she has, okay, she's born with a penis, testicle, and a scrotum, okay? But she has 2 X chromosomes, okay? With her, like, she's a triploid, or I don't know how you call it, triploid. There's like haploids, diploids, and multiploids, okay? So she has an extra X chromosome, okay? Like, I haven't drawn the others, which has like triple X or 1X and triple Y, okay, chromosome, double Y chromosome, okay? So actually the biology would be the constitution, okay, there's 2. The biology would be the constitution of the hormones, the sex hormones, which is the testosterone, dihydrotestosterone for males, for man, which makes you a male or a masculine, or the with a high, or you have like a predominance of progesterone and 17 beta estradiol, okay, which makes you feminine, okay? So this is right. And the reason why I've drawn genes, because, you know, since 1967, all girls and all women, that's all they wear, okay? So this is why I'm drawing this. I haven't finished it. I will do extra drawing about that, okay, later on other days, okay? But this drawing will be on my book that I'm writing, because there's going to be coloring and also images, okay, that I will be placing on the book that I'm writing right now, okay? Which now, where's the book? Okay. No, I can't see. which is this book. Okay. Which is this book. Okay. Up to now, it's like 70 pages. Okay. Or 70 pages for the text. Okay. Plus the references. Okay. But I didn't instill the. Okay. So that's a drawing that I wanted to do on each of my videos. Okay. Now I'm going to put my glasses. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, I'll also show you a little bit closer. Okay, this will be on either one of my web pages. Okay, and the sex of the person is when professionals, when doctors, mothers, fathers, okay, see their child coming out of the mother, and then they look at the genitals and it says it's a girl or it's a woman. That's the official. Okay, you can't overcome that. Your ID will always be male or female or man or woman, always. But women are allowed to look like men in secondary sex characteristics. Men are allowed to look like women in secondary sex characteristics, even if they have a penilplasty or a vaginoplasty. They still. That's what I'm proposing. Okay, that's what I would do if I was the ruler of a country. I would say you're allowed to have hormones because you're allowed to change your traits. You're allowed to exchange your hormones. Okay, and you're allowed to have a vaginoplasty or whatever. Okay, but you stay man or woman when you're born. Okay, that's the rationale. Okay, but when you talk about biology, it's not chromosomes, because the chromosomes, yes, it's part of biology, but it's not that activates them. It's the hormones. The biology is movement. Okay, it's a biological organism moves. Biology moves. Okay, they are conscious or souls, whatever. So bacteria, plants to animals. Okay, so this is the rationale. Okay, now just to make okay. So this is it. Les femmes biologiques. Okay. Okay, so now coming back to transphobia. Okay. Answering notsoErudite and Abigail Thorn. Okay. I don't think transphobia is extremely rare. Okay, that's my now let's see here. Okay. Okay, transphobia is as rare as unicorns. Okay, meaning it's very rare. It's like impossible that somebody will attack any trans, like a Chinese trans, an African trans, an Asian, trans, and American trans, if you go by race, and then a poor or non-noble. I'd rather. I'm gonna change that to something else. Okay, so there it is. What time is it? Oh, 1:26. Okay. Okay. Now, and a noble trans and a non-noble trans, and then male, female, male. I'm talking about the origin, when what they had between their legs when they were born. Okay, I'm talking about that. Male, female, female, males, males, females, female, males, and males and female. Okay, now it's impossible a guy, okay, with a little brain attacks when they see on the street any people of like Chinese trans, male or female, African, like any of these people, okay, on the street they attack, like he foams and okay. Okay, this here. There's go. A Viking. He foams on the mouth. Okay, this is a Viking. Okay. Okay, he foams in the mouth and attacks a person with his big axe. Okay. Like, it's impossible. I mean, of course, there might be some nuts like that. Like, I mean, you can't, like the transphobia or trans hatred. Okay, it's impossible. So what you notice is that most people will attack only, and also there's the age person, age. There's age that comes, and then there's like silhouette, okay, or fat content. A silhouette actually is important. Okay, so they'll attack. Actually, people will attack only a person that has the wrong traits, like non-noble, white, or European, mostly. Okay, they'll attack like white, non-noble, old, maybe fat, depending by their silhouettes, depending how they look like. Okay, so this is where the transphobia comes up. Okay, like I said, medical doctors, physicians are not perfect. Like, okay, like 40% of them has voluntarily sign up for the Nazi party. Okay, so they're not perfect. Okay. Okay. Now the crux of the problem. The people who are getting attacked mostly. Okay, when you're finding out, when you're trying to study to find out what type of how does transphobia or trans hatred works? Do they attack? Mostly, as you notice, Okay. Now, when you look, okay, so when you're studying the population, okay, and you find out who's doing well, okay, where's the problem, okay, then you look at the okay, all trans men, okay, okay, that's one group, and then you look at okay, different blocks, okay, trans women would be separated in different blocks. You have the North American, okay, the Anglophone, okay, North Americans. You have the Asian, the East Asians. Okay, those are the people I know a little bit more. Okay, all trans men. Okay, all trans men. Like I don't know them that much. Okay. Okay, and then you have the. Okay, here you have You have the Africans. Whoops. Africans. Okay. And then you have the Gaulois. In France. Quebec. And probably Belgium. Okay. Now, like, with all my study and my observation, okay, it seems that girls who want to become men have no problem. You probably noticed, like I noticed that in Toronto and also in England, is that the girls who want to become men are more accepted. They're more like they get things readily, much more. Like, I mean, they get hormones. They're more expedient. Okay, boys, it takes time. Okay, they don't seem to. Okay, they don't seem to. Well, they waste boys' time basically. That seems to. Okay, there's only one trans man that had problems. Okay, that I've seen. Okay, and he was. It's a girl. Okay, and he was. Okay, now let's see here. Okay, he had curly hair. Okay, and he had this shape or something. Okay, and he had extremely long hair. Okay. Extremely long, like that was his silhouette. Okay. Okay, in the big. Okay. Now this is a girl. Okay. Like, as a matter of fact, like I can't remember the, like all the fat was on the top. As a matter of fact, I think he didn't have a huge stomach even. Okay, everything that was on the top, everything was here. Okay, and he was working in a slaughterhouse. Okay, and he had trouble with his. Like he had a lot of trouble to get testosterone. He was being refused. Like all psychiatrists and psychologists was wasting his time. Okay, and I said, why? He looks like a man. As a matter of fact, I thought he was short. I thought he was a midget because when he was sitting down, like his leg is extremely long. When he was sitting down, his torso is like short. Okay, so he had long hair. I mean legs, and when he got out, like I noticed him like standing up, and he's about like 6'3" or 4. I don't know. He's like very tall. He looks like a dwarf when he's sitting down. Okay, my father is the other way around. Like my father had a longer torso than legs. My father is this. If you draw a cartoon character, my father looked like a cartoon character, like Bugs Bunny, Warner Bros, or some of the. Okay, my father had like big arms, okay, like this, okay, but he had small legs. Brutus, okay, Brutus from Popeye, okay, even Popeye had like short legs, okay, this is cartoon. My father is the other way around, okay, like a woman, my father was saying, a woman, like was talking to my father, and my father is a bus driver, and when my father got up, the woman said, "I thought you were tall." We says, "No, it's because my father's legs were short, but his torso, my poor father." But coming back to the trans man, is that I think this trans man must have hit a gay psychiatrist, and he says, "Okay, we can't have this girl that looks like that going harassing gay men in a gay bar." So he was refused. Basically, this is the conclusion I came. So because all other trans girls who want to become man, they were getting testosterone easily, even if they're short, small, they look feminine. But not this girl who was about like 6'4", and he had this kind of like wide shoulders and very long legs. I mean, like that's the only rationale. Is this gay psychiatrist thought, oh shit, we can officialize this girl into a man because he's gonna go or she's gonna go harass gay men in a gay bar. I mean that's what came into my mind. Okay. So that's ridiculous. Okay. So coming back to when you look at the population, if you want to know if they're happy, you look at how they look. What's the outcome? Okay. If they look good, if they look like women, if they're feminine, if they're pretty actually. Okay. And England, when I heard that Abigail Thorn says like she has so much trouble in England, I was surprised. Okay, but the English is not the French. Okay, to me, what I've seen. Okay, when I was living in Ontario and I moved on the wrong province to transition. Like I moved on this province because I want to learn. I want to relearn my French language because my first language is French. But I was losing it because I was working in English. But when I moved to Quebec, it was the biggest mistake because French, the Gaulois, okay, in France and in Quebec are extremely hostile when their own brothers or male kind, or when Gaulois man wants to feminize their body, they're extremely hostile. Okay, and they block us off. Okay, so the problem is, okay, the biggest problem of all, throughout the world is France. Okay, and then Quebec. Okay. Now the reason, and then probably the French Belgium, or the Wallonie. Okay, the Wallonie Belgium. Okay, and then you have like the Swiss, but the Swiss is okay. Now France is a big problem. Okay, for trans women, or or boys and men who want to become women. Okay. Now the reason why in Quebec it's a little bit better. Okay. Well, anyway, none in Quebec, in France and Quebec. In France, like it's almost like 0%. They look like women, or they're pretty. Never mind pretty. They're not pretty. In Quebec, they have problems, but at least they're doing a little bit better than France. Okay, I don't know about Belgium also. Swiss, like I don't know, or like French or Roman Swiss. Okay, like I don't know about Roman, but it's, the French Swiss is different. Okay, I don't know. I don't know much about them. Okay, but now the reason why in Quebec they're doing a little better than French is because they're less influenced. Okay, they don't seem to hate themselves. In France, the Gaulois men hate themselves. Okay, and they're terrified if one of their brothers, if one of them becomes a pretty woman, they're absolutely terrified. So what do you do? Okay, never mind the psychiatrist. Okay, never mind the psychiatrist and the psychologist or the sexologist. I mean, they're a problem too. Okay, but they spread lies. Okay, and in my book I specified the lies that they're saying. Okay, just a sec. Okay. See, the Gaulois never liked each other. Okay, the French have like a self-hate among, especially the French men, or the Gaulois men. Okay, because they're peasants, or they're welfare. Now they're peasants, welfare case, poor, non-nobles. Okay, non-nobles. Okay, and also the way they look, and also their diet. You know what they eat. Okay, it doesn't help. They're actually that is the big problem. Okay, and England is a big problem too. Okay, like I read an article in England that the European government has given a big, huge, hefty fine in England against the English government and also the French government because they let their farmers over medicate their animals, you know, their meat animals, with growth hormones. Okay, and the growth hormones have like what they do. They create they instill in the population acromegaly. Okay, acromegaly means that your body overgrows in certain area, like the face is long, your chin goes too long, your nose is too big, your hands are too big, your feet are too big, your bones are too wide. I mean, you look disproportionate. Okay, and also these farmers in England and in France, they were giving their animals like a specific synthetic growth hormones that actually produced that. They were too aggressive. So, and that was like in the 1990s, beginning of 2000. So basically what happened is, and also the French, like they're heavy meat eaters. Okay, they eat like charcuterie, they eat lots of pork, lots of beef. And also, as a matter of fact, you could tell the French people were the Gaulois people are short. They're not considered a tall people. They're considered like medium, low medium to medium height. Okay, but now the average man is 180 meters centimeters. And the women is 165 centimeters. Okay. Now, there's a reason why the women are a little bit, there's a different reason why the women in France are a little bit taller. But that's like 15 centimeters difference between men and women, okay, in France. And the average difference, sex difference, is 5 centimeters, okay? So in France, they tend to give only meat. They tend to force their boys to eat a lot of meat, and that meat has a lot of growth hormones and also hormones that imitates testosterone. So they get over virilized, okay? So that's one reason, okay, that 0% looks like women when they want to feminize, or 0, but they look, or they're pretty. As a matter of fact, they're not pretty because of the different, because of the disproportionate of their bone structure. Okay. And there's other reason too. They don't like each other. Okay. Plus that doesn't help. You know. Plus the acromegaly, that doesn't really help. Okay. And they don't like them, the origin, because they all think they're all peasants, non-nobles, or just ouvrier. In French it's called ouvrier. In English it's like manual worker, like working in a factory, in an assembly line of a factory, which is, or kind of like a blue collar workers. Okay, even worse though. Okay, and a lot of them are like on welfare. Okay, in England they have the same problem, but at least England, to me, it seems that they don't hate each other. They're not racist. Basically, the French are racist against themselves. Okay, in Quebec. Okay, and the problem is, like, I found out, like I've been reading a lot of their forums. Okay, and since when I wanted information, okay, I went to the associations of in Quebec, okay, Montreal, okay. Okay, so 148. There's like it cuts off like 3 hours. Okay. Now I wish I had I do have like a microphone, but it doesn't work. I can't get it to work. Okay, so basically the problem, like, and also in Quebec, okay, I'm gonna read the lies they say. Okay. Transit through this. Okay. Now in France, they spread, like I go up, like I took all their lies and I put them like in 5 groups, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 groups. Okay, I grouped them in 5 sentences. They are terrified. I've written in that book, they are terrified that one of them will look like a biological woman. So they spread these 5 lies. Okay, only psychiatrists, expert on transsexuality, know what we really want. Okay, that's the first one. Second, secondary virile traits cannot be erased by taking an anti-androgen, natural nor non-natural, nor by becoming vegetarian. Okay, that's the second. Third, women's natural estrogen are poisonous to men. Okay, heterosexual biological men cannot live without desiring women's ass. Okay, that's the 4th lie. Heterosexual biological man cannot live without rigidly penetrating women. Okay, and they spread their lies just to scare all of them. Okay, and even they're like, even if they don't believe their lies, they're not going to take hormones because they're even they're even stopping themselves to do it because I'm an ugly good white man, so I cannot become a like. I mean, they're even cruel to themselves, okay, which is like unbelievable, okay. And in Quebec, the Quebec boys want to become boys who want to become women. They read the French shit, okay? They read these lies and then they start believing them. But what makes them, but eventually they stop believing it because they go to the Anglophone forums, and now they start reading like actually positive and real information about the body and anti-androgen and also surgery and everything. And they don't, I mean, these are the French forum. Now, in these forums, like 95% of them, like I would say 98% are white, okay? Like the French Chinese, the French Arabic, the French Africans, they don't go to their forums. They go to their own forums. Even though they live in France, they go to the Chinese forums, the Japanese forums. So they get the right information on how to look like a woman. Okay. So what I'm trying to say to especially notsoErudite and Abigail Thorn is that if you want to see the state of trans women throughout the world, or the state of trans men, you look how they look like, like different countries. You look, if they pass it, like 50% pass, if 80% they look like what they want, or they're pretty, they look handsome, okay, well, that means they're doing something good, okay. But you look in France and in Quebec, which Quebec they're starting to look a little bit better, except, and you look at the way they eat also. You don't look only to psychiatrists, or you do look to psychiatrists, sexologists, because they're racist against their own kind. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? As a matter of fact, if you look, trans women who've been assaulted or killed, okay, if you look by who did they got killed, what's the race of the person, what's the sex, what's the race, what's the sexuality, okay? Sexuality, it's a little bit hard, okay? But if somebody goes out, if some guy goes out, he's not going to meet a trans woman and then attacks her because of trans panic. He goes out specifically to destroy the face of a trans, or some man or boy who wants to feminize their body. I mean, he's actively going out. That's what I'm trying. Okay, but who are they attacking? Okay, and I noticed, trans women who have been attacked or assaulted, okay, by a man. And if you look carefully, okay, black trans women have been attacked by black men. White trans women have been attacked by a white man. Okay, so there's something there. Okay. Okay, there's something there. So it's like the feminists use the word intersectionality. So there is something there, that it's not just some man or boy who feminize their body. There's something about them. They're either like poor, non-noble, or the race they're in. Okay, so I could go on explaining, but it's very, very convoluted and much more complex. Okay, so, and I've been reading 3 forums. Okay, there's like d'un autre genre, more than 3. d'un autre genre. Okay, that's Quebec. And eunuch.org. Okay. And then I've been looking at Japanese forums. Okay, Japanese. I can't remember the name of the Japanese forums. I tried to learn Japanese, and it's a very hard language to learn. Like, I've been studying for about 5 years, and I still don't know. Like, Chinese and Vietnamese is much more easier than this language. Anyways, forum. And then you have the this is American. Okay. Doctissimo. Okay, France. Okay. And then you have TXY, which is France. Okay. That doesn't exist anymore. And then you have another one that's from France. Okay. And for about 20 years, I've been reading these. And d'un autre genre, they give like very good information. Okay, they're not scared of taking an anti-androgen or feminizing hormone. Okay, eunuchs, very good information. They're not scared of taking feminizing hormone. Okay, I never seen anything negative. Okay, except like d'un autre genre, unless d'un autre genre, which is Quebec. If they go out to a French forum and they read something, because some of them got paranoid over like some of the feminizing hormone, like synthetic, especially the synthetic, like androcur, spironolactone, and then Lupron. Okay, but it's understandable. Okay, the Japanese, positive. Okay, they look good. They look like women. They look like girls. Okay, and even the trans man. Japanese trans man, they look good. Trans boys, they look good. Okay. But the French, everything is negative. None of them is taking hormones. And they're all crying, oh, they don't take us as women or girls. And they hate us. Well, and that's why they're spreading these lies. None of them here. The only thing they're called, they go from travesti to trans women. They go like, oh, I'm a travesti, and then the next day they're, I'm a trans woman. It's ridiculous. But they're not taking hormones. None. And everything. They even say that natural women's estrogen is poisonous to men. They're spread like the lies that I've mentioned. They're spreading them, and they believe in that. Okay, but also they're racist against their own kind. They're their own brothers. The Gaulois. Okay. So this is the biggest problem, okay. But I'm surprised about England. I don't think England they're not as how should I say, as pathological as the Gaulois in France, okay. And the Quebec Gaulois is different because they're like influenced by the Anglo-Saxon, the English Canadians, and also the American native, and then the other people like the Asians, okay. But especially the American native, which they're more practical. Oh, okay, we'll take hormones. Okay, who cares? But Quebec, they might be. Well, in France they say it's like poisonous to man. Well, no, it isn't. Okay, so this is the problem. Okay. Now, so basically, and also about gender. Now the right for men to wear dresses and skirts. Yeah, I'm for them. But the thing is that might go against us. So, well, if you want to look like a woman, just wear a dress. They're allowed to, but you're not allowed to take hormones. You see what I mean? Oh, you can. You don't need hormones. You can't wear a dress. if you want. You can also identify as a woman, because now, even though if you're a man, you look like a man, and then you just wear a dress, and then you identify. Like, I mean, basically they're consciously or strategically forgetting dysmorphist, that we want to feminize our body. We want to, physically. Okay. Yes, it's, secondary sex characteristics, especially. Okay. Now, to answer Abigail Thorn, that and all the trans, especially the trans girls in England, the thing is, okay, is that, okay, this is England. Now let's see here. Those are Mungio Aquarelle. Okay. Okay. Now there's England. I'm gonna try to. Okay, this is England. Here's Ireland. Okay, now you have like France here, I think, and then here, and then you have like Denmark, I think so, something like this. And France. Okay, here you have Belgium. Here you have like the Netherlands. Yeah, okay, England. Okay, you have Wales, England, or Cornwall. If Cornwall is a country, some people Cornwall. Okay, something like that. Okay, I think this is a little closer. This is a little bit closer. Okay, but anyways. Okay, so, and then here you have Luxembourg, and then you have France. Luxembourg, and then you have Germany. Whoops. Denmark. Belgium. Okay, to get the hormones, okay? Like, I mean, I went to England about 1993. So, and I biked my way, my way from Watford. I went to, I went to Bath, not far from Wales, and then I biked my way through London, and then I went to Dover. Then I took, actually, that's, the whole island should be there, okay, just sorry about that. Okay, I went to Pas de Calais, and then I went there. I mean, it doesn't cost that much, it's not more than like $50 Canadian. It's not much, okay, even less than that, like $20. It didn't. So, what's stopping you, if England is such a problem, okay, is, okay, the first thing to do, okay, for one thing, you don't need, like in Quebec, there's about 50%, I would say 80% in Quebec of the people, okay, of a trans girl, manage to get a prescription from their generalist. What you do, you go to one by one to a generalist and ask, okay, I want to feminize my body, I will pay for the hormones, so I won't be a burden to the healthcare system, so because it's aesthetic, and so I'm gonna pay for the hormones. Like in Canada, patches of 17 beta estradiol is like $35. In France, it's 2.5 €2.5 for patches of estrogen. Androcur is €5. In Canada, Androcur is $54. which is less than finasteride. Finasteride is like 50, 65. As a matter of fact, you don't need a letter from a psychiatrist or psychologist to get finasteride, but it sucks. Okay, according to a lot of people, it does not work, but androcur does. But it's $54. Okay, and I think in Netherlands and patches of estrogen is like $31. Okay, $31 I think, or euros. Okay, I can't remember. Okay, in England, I think England is like something like 30 pounds. I can't. Let's see, 30 pounds. Okay, so I don't know if that's a sign for pounds in England. Okay, so it's not bad. The price is, I mean, it does. Okay, that's the first thing to get, because with this, your body hair your body hair recedes. Okay, you get more hair, more head hair. Yeah, everything changes, but it takes long. Okay, when you're using only estrogen patches, natural estrogen patches, it takes maybe about 2-5 years to, and also your facial hair goes down, so it takes long. You don't break your head for laser treatment. Then you want everybody to officialize a woman. I mean, and then going through the big blah blah blah, and then you go to see a sexologist, and then you philosophizing with this person who doesn't like your face. Okay, so I mean, it's a big waste of time. Okay, so like when I was working only on the minimum salary that I could buy, I was buying my finasteride on a minimum wage salary, so no problem. But $35, like, it's easy. Okay, $35 per month. It doesn't cost. Androcur, which is the strongest, and actually it's relatively safe. It's safer than the hormones that they give to their animals that gives you acromegaly. It's safer than cigarettes. It's safer than sucrose or sugary stuff. There's only, out of like 500 million people that took this for at least a year, only one of them got killed by androcur. Only one out of 500 million, and that's because it's an old man of like 72, and I'll explain that in another video. Okay, but androcur is safe, and there's one nurse in France that says the only place that people whine against androcur is in France. The only place, and United States never accepted, but I think it's because of the protectionists. Okay, so you go to on your town, you go to all the generalists and say, okay, I want the hormone. I'm having problems. Like, they're not accepting me. Okay, I'm sure. Like, you just don't go to one. You go to several. I found that out. Okay, and as a matter of fact, I know lots in Montreal. I know lots of trans girl and trans women who got their hormones just by their generalists. And as a matter of fact, psychiatrists can also prescribe you androcur or feminine or estrogen. They can, and some of them do. Okay, Harry Benjamin mentioned that. Okay, some of them they directly prescribe because they know, they have the knowledge. Okay, it's there. As a matter of fact, this like an expert, and bear in mind, Colette Chilin and Harry Benjamin, they have studied transsexuality for about 40 years, so they know about it. Okay, but I know I'm an expert on that because I've been studying it for almost like since 1975. Okay, because I've been looking at it. Okay, it's just like I became more serious in 1986, but I would consider myself an expert because I studied, and also I went through university, so I know the procedure. But I was like an expert even at I would say in 1995, I was sort of like I became an expert. Okay, so I mean, it's So you start off with the generalists here. You start off like psychiatrist. Well, you're a psychiatrist. You're a medical doctor. You could prescribe me, and I'll pay for it. The most important thing, you see, you pay for it. The problem is, like in Quebec, England, and France, the trans women has fought so much like nails, okay, to have everything free. The epilation, the laser treatment, the electrolysis treatment, the what do you call that? The gems, the rings, the dresses, the skirts, the female shorts, okay, the petite culotte, you know, the vaginoplasty, and then the hormones free. They wanted free, everything free. So of course they'll be more selective because they don't want you to be a burden to the healthcare system. Okay, they don't want that. So of course they'll say no. You don't look good. You're not the right race. You're not the right caste. You're not a noble. You're not an exotic. You don't know what I mean? So of course they'll be. So you say, okay, I want hormones. That's the first thing. I'm gonna pay for it. Okay, and if you can't find any of them, of course you'll find some. But what's stopping you? You take the ferry. There might be a ferry that goes directly to the Netherlands. In that case, the country to go to is actually, okay, Eastern Belgium, which is the Flemish side. You go to the Netherlands or you go to Germany, and then you ask them, okay, I want a prescription. Take my bloods. I want a prescription of natural estrogen and androcur. Androcur is important. All you need is to take androcur for 1 year. That will break the whole testosterone has on your body. That will break it. Okay, just 1 year. But you need the estrogen. Once you get that, I mean, you go to England and you buy it. Okay, you get it, because I don't know their laws, but it should be. I mean, they're European, unless maybe because of Brexit, you're not part of Europe anymore. But maybe you could try anyways. You could go to France. Okay, but the things of France are extremely hostile to boys and men who want to look like women. Okay, but you're English. You're an exotic. If you look German, you're an exotic. If you look Anglo-Saxon, which are Germans, the Angles, and then the Saxons, which is a Germanic tribe, you could get away. They'll give it to you. Okay, some of them actually, these all you're not Gaulois. You're not an idiot like I see in the village, the Gaulois village. Okay, you're not a peasant Gaulois. So they might give it you, but you might lose some time. You waste your time to go in France, but you could try. Same thing with the Flemish Belgium. Not the Flemish, the Wallonie Belgium. But the Netherlands, Germany, and Denmark, you could get, they might, you're above 18, they will give you a prescription, and then they'll say, okay, this person, it's important for this person to have this hormone, this testosterone, or this estrogen, natural estrogen, for this person to like his body, to modify aesthetically his body so he could feel good or she could feel good, to have a job and blah 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 blah. Okay, they could do that. Okay, but I don't think I think you're just trying to follow the system, which doesn't help you a lot. In France, that's different. In Quebec, that's different. I mean, like a lot. I've met a lot of. There's one sexologist that I met. Like, she hated my face. Okay, it took me a while to figure that out. But I think she's like racist against her own kind. Okay, and she was dead set against transsexuality, and then men want to feminize their body. Like, she wasted my time for 5 years, but at the same time, I can't get, I met a lot of hostile psychiatrists and medical doctors, so like I was used to it, but at the same time I started studying by my own since 1995. I said, oh shit, medical doctors, psychiatrists and medical doctors are not a bowl of cherries. So what it did, I said, okay, I can't fall on them. I can't I'm not gonna be dependent towards them. I can't trust them. Okay, so I have to study my own. There's like other means, vegetarian, go for plants, whatever. Try to destroy your testicle or something like that. Like you look for other avenues. Okay. Now, and okay, that sexologist, like she wanted me to lose all my hair, then I gave up or something like that. She was wasting my time. And then at one time but she corrected me, like I misgendered one trans woman because she doesn't look like a woman and she's kind of big, but she doesn't know it. And also she was like, anyways, I found out that she said, oh, only if certain boys are allowed to look like women. Okay. So I'm suspecting that she's kind of like avenging her French Canadian sister on the backs of French Canadian men, but she chooses which one that will be punished, which is social class, the way the person looks. I mean, she's an idiot. She's an asshole, basically. So you got to be careful on that. Okay, and what else? Yeah, so I'm gonna erase this. Okay. And so basically, to recap what I was trying to say, buy your own hormones. Okay, no, I'm not talking about buying them like in the black market. I'm talking, you tell the doctor in front of you, I'm gonna pay them. You pay your own hormones. Okay, and also, it's not gender dysphoria. It's dysmorphism. Okay, because we don't want to be bald, we don't want to be hairy, we don't want to have either big huge breasts, we don't have like the wide hips, we don't want some of us don't want that, some of us don't want like the narrow hips. Okay, basically it's dysmorphism because we don't want, especially the secondary sex characteristics, because those are the ones that we see. Okay, we don't see what we have, like we're wearing, even when we're wearing shorts, skirts or dresses, we don't see what we have between our legs. Okay, now we're like, all of us are wearing jeans. Okay, so basically that's all I think I went around the answer and the question of the two videos of notsoErudite and philosophy tube. Okay.